Let me start this with a quick test. On the scale of your life values, how high is your liberty? If it is not at the top, what's above it? What's your freedom worth to you? What is going to happen when it is taken away from you? Have you ever thought about the price you're willing to pay to live the life you want? I'm sure you never asked yourself these questions. Why is that? Why don't we have answers to the most important questions a human can ask themselves? The subject of freedom is a complex one when looked at from both physical and metaphysical perspective. Although you might feel it's a simple issue, it's actually not, because there is a serious psychological obstacle in claiming our individual freedom. Human existence is somewhat of an emotional struggle, as it is about balancing a subjective sensation of being separated from others and the surrounding environment and the necessity of being a part of the collective to survive. Humans try to overcome this personal sense of isolation through seeking comfort in submission to the collective. Instead of embracing that independence and uniqueness we come here with, humans hand over personal responsibility to other people and institutions. In this process, in order to not be alienated socially, they alienate their true selves. Instead of fulfilling their earthly purpose of giving birth to their independent selves, they trade their liberty of choice and opinion for a false sense of social belonging. And the bigger the social collective unit, the smaller its freedoms. The less it values individuality, the bigger its tolerance for depraved and immoral behavior. And that's why you're always better off developing on your own than as a part of social structure. An average member of the collective only imagines to be free and is actually very unhappy living in an unrestricted environment. Freedom has never been a thing for the masses. True personal freedom is reserved for a small minority of courageous and noble men, and they're usually social outcasts. An average person subscribes to the dogmas of the collective because they are in reality seeking pleasure, not freedom, and because of that, they're always searching for someone to enslave them and make them feel secure. That's why the instant gratification appeasement mechanism of bread and circuses has always worked. It's safe to say there is no such a thing as collective freedom, because the collective always wants to be ruled by something or someone. And the more corrupt they become, the more they need a master. An average person fears true freedom because it means responsibility. Most people refuse to be grown-ups, and for them, freedom has no value. They much rather belong to someone than face their own problems or their dark side, not understanding that no one can be free who is subject to their own ignorance. It's only the virtuous who understand and appreciate freedom, and a group of educated men who uphold and protect the value of their essential rights can never be enslaved. Autocracy requires ignorance, lots of it. Through this twisted process, an average person will trade their liberties for the false sense of security, not understanding that the only place where they get fed, clothed, and kept secure is a prison cell. These social convicts are the same people who eagerly subscribe to the fake world of lies I talked about in one of the previous videos, and you will understand more when you watch it. The level of their ignorance is proportional to the level of their enslavement, not understanding that every society that trades essential liberties for artificial social order will lose both and deserves neither. Ignorance of these people stops them from seeing that where there is sacrifice, there is someone collecting the sacrificial offerings. Those putting themselves in the position of a master don't do it because they want others to be free. They do it because they want to gain control and empower themselves. Eventually, a society engaged in this trade-off will first limit its intellectual freedoms, and then it will proceed to limit its physical liberties. It will start acting against its rational judgment, setting up artificial conflicts, eventually making natural human coexistence impossible, allowing for the institutionalized oppressor to become a threat to the survival of its founders. It's a process as old as humans themselves, and now we see it in our society again. The only difference is that the modern march towards enslavement of today is well designed and is done by slow and silent encroachments on our liberties rather than through sudden violent attacks. This seemingly noble operation disguised as actions for the well-being of the victim is in reality the most iron-handed form of oppression because it allows the oppressor to do it with the approval of their own conscience. What better way to rule than by doing it in the name of saving humanity? The most disturbing aspect is that it's been done before with devastating effects. Different oppressive regimes like communism and other isms have failed over and over again trying to limit society's freedom. For me personally, one of the most interesting failed experiments is always any form of prohibition on mind-altering substances. It started with a period of alcohol prohibition that brought on the greatest breakdown of law and order in the history of the United States. By trying to tell people what they can do with their mindset, politicians create angry, antisocial mob that started working with the criminals. Then came the prohibition on marijuana that was so fatal in consequences that a whole new class of gangsters and criminals was created, accompanied by the emergence of a massive and highly profitable prison system in the United States. To most of you watching this video, the most unexplainable type of attack on your personal freedom was the worldwide psychedelic ban, which effectively tried making nature and natural healing illegal. Yes, the governments believe that they have the right to delegalize plants. This is the most grotesque example of how some random self-righteous individuals want to limit your ability to explore your own consciousness. They know that if you cannot venture into all possible areas of your mind, you can't really claim any type of freedom at all. Once you allow this state to control the door to the most intimate part of you, your consciousness, they can do anything they want in the name of so-called mental well-being. This is why fighting for our psychedelic freedom is so important to us and such a problem to them. Because it makes you realize that their definition of liberty is being free only to do what you're told. They only want you to be free with a mindset that is productive and obedient. To them, freedom means license. It means choosing one's oppressive rulers, despite the history of billions voting themselves into complete tyranny over and over again, and it seems to have had no effect on our collective wisdom. To this day, delusional societies believe the evil of this world can be remedied by legislation, something that has never worked and in fact always has the exact opposite effect. That's why it is up to you to finally do something about it. And in order to start, you need to understand what your freedom is. That's why I asked you the questions at the beginning. This video is about learning the true value of freedom. It is about the lies and tricks that are used to take it away from you. You will learn how to be free and why you need to protect your freedom at all costs. We all need content like this now. It's rare and it's difficult to create. I will continue because I know how much we need it. Sponsor this channel to make it easier for me to create more content. Use methods listed on the screen and in the video description, or go to sponsor.b434.com for the full list of methods. Additionally, you can buy merchandise or schedule a call with me. No matter what country you're in right now, it is equally relevant. I'm talking here about universal, timeless values. We're all humans, and in 100 years, all of it will be still as valid as it is today. This video is copyright free, so download it, keep it on your hard drive, or upload it to all your social media. It is crucial you share it with others. It might be the most important video they will ever watch. It is available also as an MP3 and text. All links in the video description. Children are born with a free mindset, not tainted by anxiety or conditioned problems, and this is the natural state for a human mind. The need to be free is as naturally embedded in our DNA code as is the need to breathe, eat, and sleep, thus making it the most valuable aspect of human existence. Unfortunately, freedom is expensive, and someone always wants to make us hand it over to them. Most of us take it for granted. We lived in relative freedom for a long time, forgetting that freedom is priceless and that you pay for it being constantly vigilant. As our love of freedom now became a problem to those who claim to be in control, being on the lookout for threats is our civil duty. The mechanism of robbing you of your liberties and making you compliant always happens the same way. The state tries to limit your freedoms by expanding its own functions and by stealing from you what is yours and offering a part of it back to you in exchange for more of what is yours. This is how mafia works. The definition of liberty of a man is solely based on voluntarily recognizing and following the laws of nature and the divine, not any person, collective, or institution. Liberty means doing as one pleases, without any harm to anyone or anything, while taking responsibility for one's actions and dealing responsibly with the consequences of these actions. On the personal level, your ultimate freedom is the power to decide how anything outside of you affects you. Freedom is what you do with what happens to you. The choice of your attitude in any given set of circumstances can never be taken away from you. You will always be free as long as you let yourself behave in the way you decide is right for you. Many people don't allow themselves to have that freedom, being prisoners to their externally manufactured mindset. They don't understand the value of freedom of inner and outer expression, and they are so indoctrinated that they don't understand that the end of social liberty starts from overthrowing their right to speak freely. They don't know that free religion, art, and science all belong to the same core of values, elevating human life above the limiting dullness of physical experience. Humans accept necessary enslavement only when their access to information is limited, and we can observe now as our social values start to decay, so does the language too. Today, words are being hijacked to deceive and confuse, not to enlighten. You can't consider yourself a guardian of freedom unless you fight for everyone's right to disagree with you, freely and publicly. Legislation has nothing to do with freedom of expression. For everyone to be able to talk openly without fear of persecution, there must be social consensus to tolerate anything they don't want to hear. Remember that no one can offend you without you giving yourself permission to be offended. In the same way, no one has the right to decide about your body without your permission. It is yours and only you decide what happens to it. No medicine and no device can be ever used on you in the name of greater good or for any other reason without your consent. Understand this, as it is the foundation of the right to decide about everything else in your life. Wisdom and seeing the truth go together only with a healthy body, and it is the first establishment over which you will need to exercise control before you proceed to control your mind. Understand that you have to fight for freedom, as life without it can only be compared to a body without a soul. Freedom is the ultimate value, and if you regard anything to be above it, you will eventually lose that too. Everything of value is always created by individuals left alone to work in freedom. I come from a socialist utopia, and trust me when I tell you, that's where all inspiration and creativity die, leaving you in the soul-crushing gray world of basic necessities. Freedom is not a complete state. It's a process that needs to be defended, maintained, and generated, because those in captivity lose everything, including their will to escape. That's why oppression needs to be stopped as soon as it becomes evident, if it is to be stopped at all. If you don't fight for your freedoms when it's still easy to win without sacrifices, you will be unlikely to succeed when the victory becomes extremely expensive. Do not wait for the situation to get so serious that you'll have to fight not for your freedom, but for your survival. A battle with everything, for everything. It is right now, and you need to make only one decision. You're either working towards your liberation, or you're accepting your bondage. Whether you like it or not, you're left with only these two possible attitudes. You're either a freedom protector or a servant. Don't think for a moment that there is anything in between. One of them is your conscious decision, the other one is a forced obligation. Which one do you think will allow you to respect yourself and have clear conscience? Remember that the prerequisite for evil to win is good men doing nothing. The dictators represent evil, but it's human ignorance and idleness that makes it necessary evil. Despotism has no place where people are moral and decent. When faced with a conflict between the abuser and the abused, you're not staying neutral. By doing nothing, you're siding with the abuser. You were given free will in this life to make the right decisions. You might look away, but you can never say that you didn't know. It all starts with freeing your mind. Freedom of thought needs to come before all other freedoms, and it means allowing yourself to have any form of unrestricted thinking without internal, prejudice-conditioned fear and resistance. As the most important kind of freedom for you personally is to be who you really are. This will allow you to understand that you have as much liberty, wealth, and happiness as your subconscious mind allows you to have. Because freedom is not won only on battlefields. The first and last battle takes place in our hearts and in our minds. Nothing can stop you from feeling free, and nothing can make you accept servitude. True freedom is spiritual, and your inner self cannot be handcuffed or put behind bars. You are conditioned to believe in what is supposed to be true, yet reality is definable. It is defined by you. You own your freedom. Realize you're free. Train yourself in accepting it until it becomes an intellectual reflex. Don't let your brain be hardwired into believing that your freedom belongs to somebody outside of you. You need to reinforce the notion that your freedom is yours and nobody controls it. Remember that both liberty and subjugation are mental states. The moment you decide that you're no longer controlled, you become a free man. Enlightenment is independence from society and taking responsibility for your life. In a subordinate society, the dominant beliefs are that of the controlling elite, and that's why you need to free yourself from the toxic collective. Remember that a social unit where everyone thinks the same is not really a collective of independent thinkers. You need to strive for being a part of a group where it's safe to be unpopular, because a society that won't give you the right to be different is in reality a coalition of servants. Liberty means self-reliance, and you achieve this by generating abundant conditions for yourself and your close ones. Scarcity equals dependency, which leads to control. Abundance gives you choice, which leads to freedom. This is the reason why I made a video about money recently. Watch it to learn more. Remove yourself from the system as much as your conditions allow you to. Be innovative and creative, because the technology today allows you to be almost completely independent. Don't let the very thing that tries to enslave you be the one that defines you. See how powerful you become once you gain autonomy, both in mental and physical sense. Watch how you become a disrupting element, petrifying those who want to control you. Make yourself fearless. After all, the future of humanity depends on your courage. Grant yourself freedom from anxiety. Don't be afraid to acknowledge and talk about what is true and what is a lie. Be so free that your very existence becomes an act of rebellion. A toxic society will call you crazy, but they will have to notice that you're free. Wake up to the realization that your desire to be free is the most powerful and most unstoppable force that needs to be reckoned with. No one comes to this world with special rights that would allow them to rule over others. We're all humans born equally free. Any system of domination always needs to be well organized and maintained. It always requires two elements: external power to control you and your compliance. The system of oppression cannot function without you taking part in it. A simple decision of the collective to take away the political funding would be a peaceful act of revolution, where those at the top would no longer have the incentive or means to rule over you. Claiming to be free is not enough until you start practicing it, and the best way to do this is by being non-compliant with that which is detrimental to you and others. Our liberty is fatal to despotism. Any oppression that is based on irrational lies is unsustainable long-term. In fact, a structure like that uses up huge amount of resources and energy to exist, and it is always one resistant movement away from being overthrown. Always. Remember, there's only a few of them, and they're on the wrong side of history. There are billions of us with divine rights and fury on our side. The system of few ruling over many needs to stop, as we already have the technology to create a new self-governing system. Autocracy exists when people fear the government. Liberty exists when the government fears the people. That's why we need to be united now more than ever. Unlike the love of power, which indicates an egoistic admiration of oneself, the love of freedom means love for others and for their well-being. You need to put aside your differences, at least for now, and you need to always remember who the real enemy is. Because to be free is not just a matter of casting off your own chains. It's also about removing them for others. Liberty starts from individual liberty, and you'll protect your freedom by making sure others are equally free. And if those who are scared, desperate, and dependent on the system don't understand it, educate them. Wake up others, because freedom will belong only to those who have the courage to defend it. Don't wait for anyone else to do it. It has to be you. Never think that one righteous, committed individual cannot change lives of millions. In fact, that's the force that has always done it. It doesn't need to be majority to win. The foundation of liberty is the right to exchange goods and ideas. A small, relentless minority planting seeds in minds of others is all it takes. You can only be free if they are free. Share this video with everyone on social media. Better yet, upload it to your account. Show it to your family and friends. Make them sit in silence for 30 minutes and watch it. Because for them to be liberated, first they need to realize that they're someone's property. Help them learn the truth and show them who tries to be their master. Make them think about who and what they're not allowed to criticize. Make them think about their involuntary sacrifices and the price they are paying now. Make them look into everything that is being censored. The truth will set them free, but first it will make them mad. It is your job to make them so furious that they finally open their eyes. Once they understand what's going on, you can all start taking action. Fight the oppression lawfully and calmly for as long as possible before you consider other options. Get all the legal advice and knowledge you can get access to. Join support groups and make connections. Study quantum grammar. You'll be surprised how powerful the legal system is, and because there are good people among judges too, and because politicians need to keep the appearance of following the rules of law, you are very likely to succeed. Rely on and defend constitutional rights if your country has them. But if people at the top no longer follow the rules and laws, that means there are no rules anymore, and the gloves are off. You need to be strong, because this might be just the beginning of the battle for our freedom. You will still need to defend your right not to be a victim of the corporate system, for your access to free and unlimited energy, for your ownership rights, and many more. We're entering a new reality of sacrifices and very little choice. Have no illusions. Freedom doesn't come cheap. It is synonymous with nothing left to lose. This is the time when monsters reveal themselves, and this is the time when heroes are born. Freedom is never voluntarily given back by those who try to take it away. It must be demanded and then fought for by the oppressed. The government and institutions were funded by you, and if they no longer fulfill their duty of defending you from evil, that means they have voided their permission to function. And so that you understand what the battle is really for, remember that this country your ancestors built, with its beaches and forests and blue skies above your head, belonged to you, the people. Your country belongs to those who built it. I'm dedicating this video to all of those who gave their lives to let us have liberty in our lives. Don't let the blood, sweat, and tears of countless rebels and freedom fighters before us go to waste. Remember about their sacrifices and stop the oppressing hand before it is too late. Remember that your body is yours and nobody has the right to put anything in it. No medicine, no electronic devices, as this will be the end of everyone's freedom. The life they want you to live in the future is not really worth living. Think about your children and their children and act so that they don't have to go through this all over again. At the end of your life, will you proudly recall how you fought on the side of mankind and their freedom? Or will it be a regret of a silent victim of the technocratic socialism? Keep your spirits high and be full of hope. Where there is need for lies, deception, and blackmail, there is fear of a powerful opposing force defending itself. Be strong and be brave. Thank you for your time and for everything you've done so far. Thank you for everything you do and everything your courage will allow you to do. I wish you and all of us all the luck we need. Have hope. I believe in you, and others count on you. If you want to help me reach more people with these videos, you can do this by donating and sponsoring my work. Without you, I can't continue doing what I'm doing. Thank you for your help. Subscribe and follow. Like and share this video. For merchandise, go to shop.b434.com. Leave your email address at news.b434.com. Visit the website of the musician I featured here. For more info or contact, visit b434.com and join 44's social media on YouTube, Facebook, BitChute, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and VK. Talk to each other on Reddit, Discord, and Telegram. All links in the video description.